Welcome to the best group of agents and investors in the country. Today is Thursday, July 20th, 2023, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 438. And I have good news or bad news, depending on how much you like Bruce. He will not be on the call today. I think it's bad news for all of us. But he is with his brother celebrating the birth of his niece or nephew. I haven't heard which.
Niece.
Niece. Okay, good. Celebrate the birth of his niece. But Tim and I will hold down the fort. And as always, we have our coaches, Ken, Kelly, and Cameron, who will be here. I did want to start real briefly with kind of a call to you guys to see if you can help me out a little bit. As you know, over the last 6 months, we've had this relationship with a national loan modification company. We've sent you guys well over 100 referrals. Every time I talk to one of you, I always hear, where am I going to get my referral? We would like to get more of them from you. If any of you know of a company in your area or anywhere that does loan modifications and or foreclosure defense nationwide, I'd love to have you put them in touch with me. I'll reach out to them and see if we can't establish a relationship with another company like the very successful one that we have. And when I was thinking about that, it also occurred to me kind of a call to action for each of you individually. We always tell you, go out and find a local probate attorney. Y'all in your own market, when I've been Googling, I found just thousands of loan modification and attorney foreclosure defense companies, firms, but they're mostly just local lawyers. And it just occurred to me that that's probably in your local market. You should probably try to reach out if you have either. And it'll probably be a law firm that does both loan modification and foreclosure defense. But what a great person to have on your team, just like this other company's been doing. They're going to get to a point where they can't stall the foreclosure anymore. They're going to get to the point where people go bad on loan modifications. So that's probably a local niche that each of you should reach out to also. And again, if you know anybody that does it nationwide, refer them to me, and I'll make the contact, see if we can't get them on board. That's all I have. Tim, what do you have to start with?
Well, I want to go a little further on what you just said. So that's important. And one of the things that I think you all should be real aware of here is that we are really transparent about what we're doing. We don't sit back and, say, well, we know everything and you should do it exactly like we want you to do it. And these are the only answers and all that sort of stuff. We're here. We work with you collaboratively. And most of the things that we do every day are things that are guided by the things we get from you. Our actions are guided by that. And Jim, FYI, I actually spoke briefly yesterday with a firm that's doing exactly what you're talking about. They're in multiple locations in Florida. They've got a spot in Jersey and a couple of other places. And, they're doing that. And I would say the same thing to you guys, is that if you find an attorney in your marketplace that's focused on that, whether it's foreclosure defense, short sale, some of them list short sale and they're willing to work short sale, and if you don't find that, and you find as you work with them that there are people that need to get a short sale done on their property, you need to refer that back to us as well, and we can help you get that done. Jim's wife, Pam, owns and operates one of the most successful short sale companies in the country and has been doing it for a very long period of time. But more importantly, we are enlisting you in helping us to do the thing that we do best, which is we've got a big microphone. Everybody takes our calls. If there's something that we need to get done, we can generally get it done for you. And you can focus your time on doing the things that make you money. Point us in the right direction. We'll see what we can do to help you. That's what's important to us. We want to make sure that that can happen for you, and we can provide what we need based on your guidance. So don't hesitate to ask. If it's something that you think would be beneficial, not just to you, but to a lot of other people, gosh, it would be good if I had this data or I had this thing to go deal with. We'll be all over trying to help you get that done. And we certainly help that process along.
Absolutely. To add, you reminded me of something I meant to mention. Back in the heyday, after the mortgage meltdown, My wife, Pam, was doing 30, 40 short sales a month. Recently, she's been doing 1 or 2. Just in the last month, her business has almost doubled. I mean, it's not a huge amount. Now she's doing 3, 4, or 5 a month. So there does seem to be a little bit of an uptick in short sales. And that may be a precursor of there being more foreclosures and, loan modification opportunities. So, yep, I appreciate the plug for her, and just reach out to her if you reach out to us.
And I'll say the same thing that
Yeah.
I was talking to you yesterday. They're actively getting back involved in doing business because of that. They had kind of laid off as well because when payments were frozen and all the stuff that was going on with COVID, they didn't have any action and it slowed down dramatically. It's picking back up again. And if you follow the market, that in the last 2.5 years, there have been a lot of people who've gotten financed and papered that probably aren't going to continue to be able to make those payments. And that's kind of where a lot of this is going. So we know that there's I don't say it's tidal wave, but certainly there is a reasonable sized wave coming of people who are not going to be able to make their payments and are going to move into foreclosure. So it becomes a real important niche for us to work in. And we're doing some stuff right now, working with both a FSBO foreclosure and expired program that we're putting together as well to kind of help you guys get some of this done. And I literally just jumped off another webinar to come here. I spent an hour on a call that has to do with downsizing and baby boomers. And a lot of this came from things that, you guys asked us about, you talked to us about, and please, engage us in conversation. We're here to help you. Michelle, I see you've had your hand up for a while, and you keep popping in and out. I'm afraid you're driving and we'll lose you. So I'm going to call on you now and let you ask what you need to ask. Michelle?
Did we unmute Michelle, or Michelle, can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, it wasn't letting me unmute for a second there. I'm at a better location. It shouldn't lose connection here. So I had a property I do have a property under contract, and title I asked them to run this 3 weeks ago, and of course they don't do it till 3 days before closing. But there is, her husband is deceased. He didn't show up at the county, but he shows up on title when they ran their search. And there is he has a son from a previous marriage. It turns out he's 50% owner. And the homeowner thought that since she raised him from the time he was 8 years old, he would just sign over the property, general warranty deed, and let her keep the proceeds. But he's not turning out to be so pleasant. I think he wants part of the proceeds. So is there any recourse at all on my side if he decides that he doesn't want to go and do this contract that I've been working on for 2 months? He decides not to sign. I'm just wondering if there's if y'all, or if there's anything I can do from my end to help him, to encourage him to sign as an ethical, ethical bribe or something.
Let me ask you a qualifying question. It is a probate,
Sure.
correct? It is a
It's
probate
not
deal?
probate, and it's not in probate. So in Texas,
okay.
we can do an affidavit of heirship, and it's turned up during the questionnaire and the affidavit process.
So is it that the son is in the will, or is he actually already entitled?
It's intestate, so there is no will. But with Texas inheritance laws, he's the first. He would be the only heir to his father's 50% ownership.
Gotcha. So basically, he has 25% ownership, or no, he has 50%.
Yep.
50. Okay. Wow, that's tough because you can't even. Nobody's got a majority. I'm gonna say the only.
Proceeds wise, how much are they going to get in total?
After the loan's paid off, they have about $100,000 net proceeds.
So he stands to get 50, right?
He does, which would really devastate his stepmother because this is basically her retirement. I've helped them find a affordable motorhome. I've worked out a way for that money to be put into an investment that's going to give them a monthly annuity for the next like 10 years. And like we had it all worked out so that they were going to be taken care of. I really, really do my best with my sellers to make sure that they're put in a position where they're long-term taken care of. And everything was perfect for her. And it's really hard to make $100,000 be a retirement amount of money in this day and age, but we had it worked out, and it won't work if he takes half the proceeds.
Have you talked to him directly?
I have. My broker asked me not to because I do have a license. She said because I'm a party to the transaction, I should not be directly interacting with him.
Yeah.
But I did speak to him last night, and he's okay. I mean, he started off really not pleasant, and then he got easier once he realized I wasn't out to take advantage of his stepmother.
Right. Well, if you think that's his motivation, that you weren't trying to take advantage of her, I think you really don't have, the law is on his side. I mean, he obviously, if the law states what it states, he's entitled to half of it, and it's his dad, whether he was, close to his dad or not, the law is the law. But if he does care about her, one of the only thing that I can suggest, and I'm open, I'd like to hear if anybody else has got a different idea that may know any legalities in Texas, but I don't, is to act as a, kind of an intermediary and say, look, is there something, here's what I've done for your stepmom. Here's what we're sitting on. Obviously, you want to get something out of this, and I understand that. That's logical. Money's money. But, what can you afford to let her keep? And, let him lay on his conscience. How much here's what it's going to cost her. How much are you willing to help her do that? Because if he cared about her, which is what you said just now, he was trying to make sure you weren't taking advantage of her. If he does if he does care about her, then, you gotta walk a tightrope, but you could certainly help intermediate that and come up with as much money for her as you could.
Michelle, is she living in the property?
She is living in a property that should be completely uninhabitable. It is an uninhabitable property, and she's living in it in very, very third world conditions.
She's living in the subject property that we're talking about.
She's living in the subject property without electricity, half the time without running water, and with a lot of rodents and animal feces.
Wow. Is there a mortgage on it?
Pardon?
Is there a mortgage on it, or is it paid off?
Yeah, there's a small mortgage left. There's a small mortgage of $80,000 that will be paid off at closing.
Okay, then I was going to propose something very similar to what Tim said. You're not going to make the guy go away. It doesn't sound like, but, work out some kind of a compromise. If mom does it, both of them have to agree, or nobody's going to get anything. And eventually, is mom making the payments on the mortgage now, or is it behind? Oh, we lost you again, Michelle. You're muted.
I can see you, but we can't hear you. Michelle, we can see you. You're moving.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead. Okay. I had asked you.
They're not in pre-foreclosure yet, but they are in default, so they're not making payments.
Okay, so there's some leverage with the son. Do you want to make the mortgage payments? Obviously not. Well, your mom's not going to make them. So if we don't work something out in the next 3-6 months, neither one of you is going to get anything.
Right.
Will you take 30%? Or like get him to mention a number first.
Yeah.
It's not logical for both of them to play hardball and not get anything, and one of them's got to give. And it seems like it. He could afford to give because, also mom will have no place to live if it gets foreclosed. So they both have some motivation to try to work it out.
I didn't catch that last thing you said.
Well, I said that on one hand, neither of them get anything if they can't compromise.
Right.
And on one hand, it seems like it should be the son to compromise, but you got to also realize that if he doesn't and mom doesn't, she's going to end up homeless, And so unfortunately, she's probably in a worse situation than he is. That's a tough one. Get a good family counselor. But I would just try. I would, if it was me, I'd probably start by appealing to the son to take less. And worst case, I mean, mom might have to do that if he absolutely refuses. Is it your sense that he's just going to be completely inflexible?
I don't know. He said a few things that had some yellowish red flags. On the one hand, his conversation started out like, I want to protect my mom, and then he said, so I told her, well, you could always sign a general warranty deed, and we can have it prepared, and then you sign the property and she gets the proceeds. He goes, well, she told me that, but we need to have a discussion about that, her and him. So I think he wants some money. I'm pretty sure he wants some money.
Oh, so you don't know for sure he's not said that at all, right?
No, he hasn't said that in so many words. He's waiting for me to send the contract.
So you have a buyer in hand, is that right?
No, I am the buyer.
Oh, you're the buyer. I got it. Sorry.
Yeah. I'd be buying it and flipping it myself. And there's a good profit to be made, but I have to take that house down to the studs.
I understand.
So, yeah. So, I mean, he's going to look at the amount I'm offering to her and think that I'm lowballing it.
Well, why would that be? If the house is as you described it, why would he think that?
Because he hasn't stepped foot in the house in 20 years. He's heard that it's in poor condition, but until you walk in and you smell how bad that house is, and you see the rats running around and the dog poop everywhere, it doesn't. The ARV should be around 430, and I'm buying. No, sorry, we're not adding square footage. The ARV should be 385. I'm buying it for 170. We're going to put about 120,000 of renovation into it. That's our renovation.
Does he live locally?
He lives about an hour away. He hasn't been to visit her in, like I said, well, I think, no, not 20 years. At least since before his father passed away, which has been like 10, 15 years.
Can I ask, why aren't you just submitting the offer? Because, I've done some flips in the past, and I made the assumption, this offer that I'm going to make is very low and they're not going to want to accept it. And I had a buddy of mine that was more experienced flipper, and he's like, no, this is what the numbers are. This is what most flippers are going to offer. So just present the offer. And he basically talked me into it like that. I'm not, that this is what I need to do to make the numbers work. And I just presented it and said, hey, this is it. And they were like, oh, is that it? And then let me talk to my husband. And then they came back and said, we'll gladly accept this offer. So rather than making these presumptions that what his response is going to be, why don't you just submit the offer and then find out exactly what he needs to walk away from the property?
Well, yes, she's going to be left destitute if he ends up wanting 50%. So it's really not so much about me getting the deal as me making sure that she's taken care of. And then I know at the end of the day, that's not my responsibility, but I've kind of made it somewhat my responsibility.
Right. But all I'm merely saying is that you're making presumptions, what he's going to want, rather than just simply finding out what he needs to walk away from the deal. Right.
I mean the honest truth is that we were supposed to close yesterday. We've extended the closing till next Wednesday. And I've already paid for the appraisal. And I mean, the only thing that will happen if this falls through is I'll get my $400 of earnest money back. But I've invested a lot of time and money into this already. So I would like to see it work. But I mean, as far as making the offer, I did that 2 months ago, and then we had to renegotiate, and it went $30,000 lower. But all that has been with the current lady who's living in the house, not her stepson. So you're right.
Well, and the landscape changes. I mean, every time you get a deal, there's a new AC that needs to be put in that you didn't realize, or there's water damage that you didn't see, when you initially bought the property. there's always new dynamics that get introduced into almost every single deal until it closes. So take it for what it is and just communicate clearly with him and to say, hey, what, and I would anchor an offer like, here's what we're prepared to give you, because most people know in a negotiation where you start an anchor, then that's where you're negotiating from. So I would say, listen, we can give you $5,000. You haven't been involved. The mother-in-law, we're trying to take care of her.
I see.
Here's what we're willing to give you. Start there, probably at a low point, to see where he's at, because maybe you offer him $3,000 and then he's like, well, I need $5,000. Okay, problem solved. But at least you know where he's at.
Okay.
Michelle, Belinda Reese had a good suggestion. She just chatted and she said, take a video of the house and send it to the son. It won't transmit the smells, but it might be able to.
I was going to say the same thing, not a video as well. I mean, that's a good stopgap, but I'd invite him to meet with you and his mom at the property, and that'll do it right there. If he cares about her at all, you'll instantly know whether he cares. If he'll show up and the house stinks and it's, got feces and urine and she's living in a horrible condition, if he cares about her, then that's your best ammo right there. If he does, and what he said, he indicated that he did. We had a couple of other people who also made a couple of suggestions that I thought were kind of interesting. One of them was to potentially provide a contractor's estimate so that he knows you're not just fishing at the pricing that you're going to have to invest in doing this. And then a real creative approach that came out of this, just as something to keep in the back of your mind, is that you might potentially offer him, how old is his mother? How old is she?
I think she's 65.
Is she in good health or not?
No.
Okay.
I mean, she's disappeared twice during this 2 months, and she has a tendency to use drugs when she's very stressed. So,
Got it. So here's the deal.
she stayed clean most of the time, but she got stressed at one point and disappeared on us and went on a drug thing.
He said, somebody suggested a very interesting option, which was to potentially offer him the opportunity to get put into first position even as a lien holder on the purchase of the next property for his stepmother. That way, he's assured of getting all the money out of it long term. He'd get whatever is left after that deal, if there's a way for you to make that happen in some way. There are a bunch of options here, but I'm going to say what I said before. I think your best ammo is to get this guy in that house and be as disgusted as you are about it, and see if you can go from there. And Ken made a good point. You got to get something on the table so that he can say yes or no to it, or at least flesh it out. But I would do it with the smell of that house in his nose, if you can make that happen.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can make that happen.
Michelle, Roger's got his hand up. I don't know if Roger wanted to offer a suggestion or if it's unrelated. The last thing I was going to say, and I'm sure you'll take this the way it's meant. I hear, in credit to you, I hear you saying you care less about getting a deal than not leaving her destitute, which is, I mean, it sounds like you're coming from, yeah, you want the deal, but you don't want to leave the mom with nothing. And you say she'll be destitute if she only gets half. I mean, it's kind of obvious she'll be more destitute if she doesn't get anything. So
Exactly. Yes, that's true.
Don't overrepresent your client to her detriment. Sometimes people do.
Right.
So just
Okay. Yeah. I pulled over so I can make notes. I appreciate all of the input, because you gave me a few things talking points that I hadn't thought to bring up. So this is good. I did even tell him that they're $20,000 behind on their mortgage.
Yeah. And literally,
Can you hear me?
yeah, Roger.
Can you hear me?
Roger, do you want to talk about this deal?
Yes.
Go ahead, buddy.
Number one, the granddaddy of all buyer probate agents is on this call, and that's David Pinnell. He may have some input, and I'd love to hear what he has to say. My suggestion from my perspective is you keep telling them what it's going to cost to fix the thing, and that's going to be at my cost. You're talking about yourself. My suggestion is don't talk about yourself. Spend $400, get both of them in the same room and have a conversation. Yes, the son is going to want to get some money out of this because he's entitled to it. Number two, she wants some money out of this, or she wants a place to live. And all you're talking about is how much it's going to cost to fix this thing. My suggestion is get their permission in advance to pay for a bona fide certified real estate appraiser to give you a value instead of you guessing this is what I think it'll sell for. All of a sudden you remove the hesitancy of the son that you're getting his portion that he wants. He's suspicious of you because you are buying it. And he's thinking that you're getting some of the money that he wants. But if you get a third party not involved in the transaction, which you are, then I would say get an appraiser, pay him $400. At least in my market, that's what a private appraisal may be able to get, $400 to $500.
Twice that here. It's twice that.
And get him to come in and say, this is what the property is worth at this point. You resolve the question of, okay, you get 50% of this, and that may not be the case after you get both of them in there, and you just be the ombudsman between the two in order to move the transaction forward. That's number one. If foreclosure is involved in this situation, you also need to bring up the issue of stopping the foreclosure. The only way that I know to stop a foreclosure is filing bankruptcy. And then it becomes an issue of bankruptcy. Is this property in probate at the moment?
No, we think we can avoid probate. There's enough people to sign the affidavit, the heirship affidavit.
If it's a $300,000, if it's a fixed $300,000 and you're $100,000 on that, in Arkansas, that would probably be forced into probate. But nonetheless, it's a situation of you have to remove yourself from suspicion of the son from you're taking my money because you're buying it too cheap, and that's where he's coming from. And you get an appraiser to give you an as is. Consider and give him the option, throw it into bankruptcy to stop the foreclosure. And that's going to take a little bit longer, and you'll have to get attorney's fees involved with all of that. And it will stop the foreclosure process, but you're running a race now with the county and or the bank and the foreclosure process. There's my suggestion on it. David, have you got anything that you want to add on it? Because I think that he's the grandfather of buying properties from individuals in a distressed situation. You have any questions of me? I'm done.
Roger, if I could jump in there, just an add on to what you said that wouldn't cost anything. In addition to, or instead of an appraisal, you could have her contractor come in and give a contractor's estimate of what it would be required to fix the house. Most contractors, if they think they're going to get some business, would probably do that for free. So, suggestion, instead of or in addition to the appraisal.
David, you're unmuted.
Yeah,
Hey, bud.
I appreciate the good word. Hey, we just got to remember the perspective of all these people, what they're going through. If this son is, you said drugs are in use if she's depressed or stressed, so he knows of that as well, if you know of it. So that has to be on his mind if his mom's about to inherit $100,000. It could be the house, it could be the price that you're buying it for, it could be the situation that you're going to put her in, and not, if she's going to run crazy with $100,000 on drugs after you get the house sold. We got to meet these people. We got to meet these people where they are in their mind.
Right.
It's not email, it's not text messaging, it's maybe not calling the guys, hey, you have 15 minutes to meet me. If you don't like me, if you don't want me to buy the house, I'll back off. But at least meet me and let's talk about what you're thinking so that I know what to do. I'm just a buyer. I could buy this house. I could buy the next 10 homes. It doesn't matter to me to buy this house. I have no connection to it. I just got involved. And if you want me to help you, I can. Your house is in foreclosure. Your mom's, you know that she probably uses drugs if she gets stressed. You got to bring all this stuff up to her, all these pain points, and then discover his perspective, what he's thinking. He may not even think about the house at all. And we're going into a situation, y'all been talking about all these different scenarios, all these different things, and we just don't know his perspective at all.
Yeah. Okay. I need to go see him in person, or he needs to come up preferably so he can see and smell the house in person.
Oh, 100%. Or go pick him up. Is he in town or close by or a couple hours?
He's in Grand Falls. The house is up in Cedar Park. So let's see, it's about an hour and 10 minutes apart, maybe.
Send him an Uber. Say, hey, I'll send you an Uber and then put you back on the Uber and you don't have to pay for gas. Make it easy for him.
I think you may, Michelle, I just got to say one other thing. I know you're in this situation and there's a forest and the trees going on here a little bit. I think that you're absolutely missing some key elements here and probably some of the very most important ones, which is that you really don't know where he's at. David made a good point. Everybody's made good points. And the one conversation you related to us was that he was concerned potentially that you might be taking advantage of his mother. You don't know that he wants 50% of this. You don't really know what he wants. And I think the reality here is you're building trouble for yourself that you don't know is even there. And, get the guy and take David suggested even, take the high road, offer to pick up an Uber for him or to go pick him up and, say, look, I'll swing by, I'll pick you up, I'll take you, we'll go visit with your mom. I want you to see the shape the house is in and, we can talk about it. But again, if the house, he may not have, you said he hadn't been involved with her forever. He probably has in his mind it's a much better house than it is. And so, you've got to get him to look at it and understand that, there's nothing here but good that you're going to do. And you got to use the house to your advantage. Go pick him up.
Make sure you're removed from the result. If he knows that you want to buy that house 100%, you're all in. You can't walk away from the negotiation table.
I think
you got to make.
Oh, David, I think that's the problem.
That's wise words, David. I don't want to tip my hand too much. I'm more invested in this house than I should be simply because I've already paid a lot of money, but I'm not going to, I haven't told you. So I'll just leave.
We make a lot of money too. So don't hang it up on one deal. I just went through this in January of a guy that paid for the mortgage for 10 years. He lived in the house. It was very distressed. And the sister, they never put the title in his name alone. He paid the house down to $30,000. I ended up buying it for $45,000 because they were fighting so much. And I removed myself. I said, look, go get an attorney, do whatever you got to do. I don't need to buy this house. They called me a day later saying, look, whatever you do to help us, because they probably called an attorney and they were like, God, it's going to be $5,000 to call this attorney. Let them discover that part. Even say, look, I got 3 attorneys, 3 inspectors, call one of them and get some kind of perspective on pricing. And then if it doesn't work, call me back. Being removed from the result is going to help you a lot.
Great suggestions all the way around.
Got it.
All right. Thanks. Great.
All right. Thank you very much.
Super, super. Hey, Roger, I see your hand is back up again. Is there something else you want to say, bud?
Just a final thought there that hope you've had at least a title check to make sure that you can get clear title to convey to you, because there's nothing worse than having something come up at the last minute right before closing that you got to get this cleared also. Even though there's a lien from the bank that's therefore moving in on, but somehow you want to make sure that house can get to you free and clear. And David is absolutely right. remove yourself in the conversation. All of a sudden, you take something away from them, and they start discovering what they do. Give them the phone numbers to call the people and go and move on from there. Thank you very much. If you got any questions, don't hesitate. I'm done.
Thanks, Bud.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Ken.
Well, I think that's very, very good. If you get emotionally attached, then you're not in flow, and you can't clearly find out what the son wants or what the mother-in-law wants. But if you're detached, like David said, then you can hear what they're saying, because you seem to be very heavily weighted on the mother-in-law, getting her everything you promised her. But like, hey, that's before we knew this, so bring everybody together and negotiate it out. But anyway, on another topic, if we're ready to move on, I just got a mobile home listing, and I'm looking to potentially buy it myself. And the land has been transferred to the person who passed away. So I have the executor, we have the listing agreement signed, but the actual mobile home was not transferred. So I have certificates of sale and ownership, but the land was transferred from that person to the deceased, but the mobile home wasn't transferred. Hopefully that makes sense. So we tracked down the lady that owned the land and the mobile home. She is also since deceased. So I'm trying to figure out where I go from there. I have one of her heirs, so I don't know if they have the ability to transfer the ownership of the mobile home, or somebody else, an investor friend of mine suggested.
What state are you in, Ken?
Nevada.
In Texas, you could file a certificate with the state of Texas with that document, the certification of the sale of the mobile home, and they will transfer the name for us in Texas.
Okay, what is that called?
So it's the Mobile Home Association of Texas.
Okay.
I did that last year on a mobile home, and it took 3 weeks to do it, and $80 or something like that. All you do is file that you're buying this mobile home. You have proof of the contract. There has to be some kind of association in your state that does that.
Okay.
You could go to any mobile home dealer in the area and ask them who they go through to register the mobile home to the new owner.
Good.
It's like a vehicle. It's like the Department. Yeah, it's the Department of Mobile Homes Association, Texas, something like that.
David, I'm just going to say I ran into a situation. It wasn't me, but somebody I know ran into a situation like that in Florida years ago. And it was like 2 generations removed from the owner of the mobile home. But you're right. It's a car title. They were able to, in Florida, resolve it through the local DMV just to show proof that the past 2 heirs are deceased and nobody else has a claim to it. And they were able to get a new title made out to them. So I'd look at both of those. Yeah.
And the title company needs to accept it. So you need to make sure that if you guys work with the title company, they accept it. It took us, it took about 3 months to get the actually thing closed, but it took us 3 weeks to get the certification sent to the title company.
Okay. And that's what I was thinking. I mean, since the previous owner is deceased also, I mean, it's not like she can possibly have a claim. I mean, maybe we might have to get a death certificate possibly to transfer the title, maybe not. But, it seems obvious she sold the land. So it seems obvious that the trailer would be,
Go back to the original title company that sold the land too. And they've issued a title policy of some sort. That's what we did too. We went back to the original title company in Azle, Texas, and they had the documents of the sale still. So
right, because it might have not ever got.
They weren't filed. Yeah,
right. It was never filed.
I didn't know all this either before, so it's good.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here.
But my assignment tripled in the process of doing this because I lost 2 buyers, and then the value, it was an acre of land with a mobile home, and my assignment tripled in the process of doing this, so I was happy.
All right.
It's like Roger has some input on this also. Roger? Roger's got his hand up. Is that left over?
Maybe he never put it down.
Oh, okay. maybe left over from
There-
his last comment. Did you have
In Arkansas, it's a Department of Motor Vehicles. It is a personal property. It is not part of the real estate, and you wind up having to go through whatever Department of Mobile Homes or whatever. In Arkansas, it's the DMV. And if there's nobody around, you're probably going to have to find, like you said, a death certificate and do a lost title. Somebody is going to have to wind up signing that within the family. I don't know. That may even have to go through. I don't want to go through probate for a mobile home, But a DMV is going to have to issue a lost title if you can't find it. That's the way it is in Arkansas.
exactly the same in Florida? That's exactly the process we went through here.
And this is a situation where I'm probably gonna maybe buy it. Well, I'm thinking about buying it myself or wholesaling it out. It's kind of a niche, or unique, and David, you probably know about this, but it's not real property, right? So the comps for non-real property in this mobile home park are basically like 95, 100,000. But when they have been converted to real property, which my understanding that's about $5,000 or $6,000, then when someone can get financing on the property, then you can sell it for 220, 230, 240, depending on how rehab the home is. So it's kind of a unique situation. If you have cash, or you can find investors, you can buy the property, convert it to real property, also fix it up, and then flip it to a financed buyer, and actually make a fair amount of money on that exchange.
You could actually make more on mobile homes than actual houses. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the better you know this is great. I didn't realize the value in a mobile home.
Yeah. I mean, if you can find something that hasn't been converted,
Yeah.
and essentially you're telling the seller, honestly, this cannot be financed. But I have either the ability to buy it myself, or I have a cash buyer. Develop your wholesale network out there. I reached out to one of my local guys that runs my investor meeting in town, and basically he said, "Hey, I have 3 people that specialize in mobile homes." So I'm weighing it out. I'm having my contractor over there. We have estimates on the rehab. The cash is standing by if we want to flip it. But my buddy's saying it could get broken into, it could be vandalized, it could be a lot of hassle because of the neighborhood. So it might just be worth my time just to wholesale it out, make my 5 or 10,000, and just move on to a better fishing hole.
Anybody else have experience in your local marketplace with mobile homes? I mean, it's changing. That scenario is changing dramatically in Florida, and a lot of it is having to do with the over 55 community here. The line between a mobile home and manufactured housing is pretty blurry here in Florida. Manufactured housing tends to be always real property, and mobile homes tend to be mobile homes, and that line is beginning to blur. What about in the other markets? Anybody? David, what are you seeing?
For mobile homes here,
Yeah.
we get them randomly, and I'm actually working on one right now that when you convert to real property, it looks like it just needs to has a foundation here in Texas. So a lot of these mobile homes just they're propped up on they just drop them off on some steel or something, but you have to actually put a foundation in them to make them real property here in Texas.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think a quick Google search, you can find the forms. I already have the form to convert it to real property.
Yep.
And like I said, my understanding is about $5,000-$6,000, so it's relatively affordable for the profit that you can potentially make. Again, when you sell to the end user who's using financing.
yeah,
For sure.
they're going for about 220 here, so you're about right on value with a half an acre land. It's crazy. Who would ever spend that? I'm amazed on prices. I'm just floored on houses too.
David Bell, I see your hand is up there. You want to unmute? There you go. Yep.
Hey, how you doing? Um, you guys were talking about mobile homes. I just want to give my opinion. I wholesale mobile homes full time. I'm here in New Jersey. And I was just going to say from a personal perspective, if you do build your team out, or if you build a strong buyers list, there's a lot of money to be made just through the wholesale strategy with mobile homes. And I only deal with the ones inside of parks. So, but if you get the right buyers list, you could definitely create some good spreads. As you know, I wanted to say that I've been doing it full time since 2020. But this month I just had my biggest month. So I did 2 wholesale deals. On the 6th of this month, I closed one. It was 5.5 thousand, so it was like a smaller spread. But on the 12th, I closed the second one. And made $29,000. So there's a lot of money to be made in them. A lot of people don't think it's like a good investment. I think because they look at most mobile homes as a, like a depreciating asset, and they think it, like movie 8 Mile. They think it's like just trailer trash. But there's actually communities that are very nice, and they have like amenities like pools and playgrounds and basketball courts and stuff like that. And I noticed the closer, at least here in New Jersey, the closer you get to the ocean is the more the price kind of fluctuates to the higher side with the prices of the mobile homes being closer to the water.
David, are you working the parks? Are you working referral? How are you getting your business?
So the one that I closed on the 6th, I honestly got that one off of a Facebook marketplace. And I reached out to the person. It was listed with a realtor at first. And they tried to put me under contract. At that time, I told them no, because I didn't want to break any laws, and I didn't want to, step on the realtor's toes. So he had waited, I believe it was like 2 or 3 weeks. He called me back, and he said he canceled the contract with the realtor, and he wanted me to help him out. So I got the first deal from a Facebook marketplace listing. And then the one I closed on the 12th, that was driving for dollars. I was just driving around the mobile home park, and I came across a for sale sign. And it took me forever to reach the person. I had to keep calling and calling and calling. And I would shoot text messages for I would say probably a week and a half. I would do it every other day or every 3 days. And then the person finally answered the phone, and they explained they were in the hospital and they lived out of state. And they just wanted to get rid of the mobile home. So when I was on the phone with the seller, I asked him, I said, how much do you want? He said $2,000. And I was like, you mean like 2000? He was like, yeah. I said, well, I could maybe get you more. And then he was like, no. He was like, listen, you're not listening. He said, I just need you to get rid of this home. I don't want it. It's a burden. And I just want $2,000. That's it. He was like, whatever you sell it for, I don't care. Keep it. So that deal went pretty smooth, I would say. But the seller lived out of state, and it was his mother's home. And his mother was actually 96 years old. So I got to meet all of them. They had to come and get a couple of belongings out the house because they lived in North Carolina. And I just, usually with a mobile home in a park, you can close either inside the mobile home with the seller, or you could do it at the park office. So at this particular park that I was at, we just did the whole closing inside of the office with the park manager.
Cool. Yeah, that's very interesting. We haven't talked much here at all about, I see you, Jim. We haven't talked much about mobile homes. And, David pointed out, and you're obviously demonstrating, a lot of money to be made there. And it is increasingly, like you said, the closer you get to the water, and of course in Florida, it is increasingly becoming the more affordable option, or an affordable option. People are putting mobile home parks anywhere they can find good sized piece of property, and the community will allow it. They're going in and doing some quick civil engineering, throw it in, the electric and water and sewer, and calling it good, and they can fill them up almost and build them down here. So definitely an interesting thing to go deal with. Before we go too much further, And I'm good. I would invite you to come back and let's talk some more about this. Certainly, maybe next time. I'd like to devote a bit more time to this because it's important. I got one other thing that we need to talk to you guys about that we've been asked for a while. As you know, we host a lot of websites, and a lot of you have our probate websites, and that's something that we're happy to do. We're proud of. You guys get a lot of good action out of that, and we're doing some things to even enhance the value of that with our new CRM that's going to be coming out, directly attach some of that stuff to it. But in addition to that, we've been asked about, certainly from the investor side and some of you who are not happy with the real estate website that you have for your general business. So we have partnered with a company called eStatic that we think has the best game in town as far as hooking up to local MLSs and pulling IDX listings down, making your website searchable, and all that sort of stuff. So, Eric, if you'll pop that slide up, I'll take a quick look at it. We're doing something that we're offering to try to make this work, but we're also, as I said earlier in the call, we're being really transparent about this. We're learning as we go. We want to figure out how challenging this is to do, not challenging it is to do, how much time is going to be involved in customizing it. Every IDX feed, not every one of them, but a lot of them are different. There are nuances in each one, and we don't know how long it's going to take in terms of each one. So we're looking to get some experience. So we're looking for 3 people that would like to either add MLS listing capability on their current website or set up a new one. And we know that it's going to take more time than we're charging for, but we're just looking to get some experience. And if you get a little skin in the game, you're likely to help us get it done and pay attention when we ask questions. So first 3 people that will contact support and ask this for $199, we'll set it up for you, add it to your site, and it'll only add $59 a month to your monthly hosting, which will take your monthly hosting currently $99. We're going to look and see how that plays. I'll tell you that that's adjustable as time goes on, but we're looking for 3 people to kind of help see this thing through as a small beta. So just call support at 844-532-3369 if you're interested in working with us on this. I guarantee you're going to get more than you're paying for, and we'd love to work with you on this to make this available to you and then have something that we can kind of refer back to over time and make sure we get this right for everybody. But as I said, you'll get more than you paid for, and we'll certainly be happy to work with you. So again, call support. Some of you have already asked for it. Those of you that have, we're ready to do it now. So, and please step up and let's get this done. We'd love to help you. And Eric, you can leave that up for a couple more minutes, and that way they can maybe make notes. That's all I had in regard to that. I just wanted to make sure that you knew about it, and our team is traveling, so they got the slide done so that we could put this up for the call, and I want to make sure we had it up. And if you have any questions about it, certainly feel free to ask support when you call them. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have and kind of show you how this works as well. And it's a really solid approach to doing it. It is a WordPress website. You have the ability to edit, do whatever you want to with it, just like all of our sites are. But we'll certainly be willing to help you do that and do the work for you. So if you need an awesome regular real estate site, we've got you covered now. Okay, Eric, you can take that back down if you would, and anybody that needs to see it, again, just contact support. Anybody else have any other questions? I don't see any hands in the air. I've been monitoring the Facebook as well, and we've not gotten anything popped in there that we didn't kind of already answer, so that's been good. Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to just add to what both the Davids are saying. I mean, there's so much, even though regular listings have contracted, right? We have low inventory, supposedly. Well, which is true. I mean, obviously that's true, but in probate, I mean, it's the greatest wealth transfer that's ever happening, right? You have all these baby boomers that are getting to this age where they're passing away. They own a massive amount of real estate, and essentially, like through probate, you have this deal flow, and it just keeps coming to you. And the thing is, we get attached to these deals, but I just say, find a great lead source like Probate Leads get yourself in between these deals and then decide if you're going to flip them, if you're going to wholesale them, or if you're just going to list them on the resale market. But get yourself in the flow of these deals that are coming, and there's a tremendous opportunity. I mean, but I have, 4, 5, 6 deals going on at any given time, so I'm not too attached to any outcome, like David was saying, But you gotta see volume to really get good at what you're doing, and then you can make quick decisions that are always in the best interest of your clients, but also yourself. But that comes from repetition. Like David, obviously, the guy's super smooth. Why? Because he's been in the middle of so many transactions. It just becomes easy.
That's what he's known as, Super Smooth Dave, right, Dave?
Well, the guy's, he's excellent. You can tell.
For sure he is. Shane, I saw you pop your hand up there. Roger, I'll get to you before we go, but go ahead, Shane.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
Good, man.
On the MLS, I was curious, is that regional or is it a nationwide thing where they pop in a zip code, or what's that going to look like? Do you have an answer on that?
Yeah, it's attaching to your local board.
Okay.
Your local board search. It's basically giving you your localized local board, whatever your board covers, whatever your board makes available, that's what this does. And there are nuances in every one of them, but generally speaking, it's whatever your board of realtors provides as far as their searchability, their MLS, and whatever territory they cover.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Roger, I see you got your hand up. We're right at 2. Go ahead, and you can kind of finish this out here, man.
I'm working on getting myself into the position for trust departments, bank trust departments, and working guardianships in which someone needs full-time care that's also verging into health management organizations and nursing homes and stuff like that. I think the easy way is making contacts with trust departments and the trust attorneys that will make recommendations. I've gotten 2 so far this year, and I think it's a path that we have not really taken made attention to. That's not in probate, but it is a need that I can help satisfy. I'll let you know as I develop a little bit more on it.
Cool, man. Yeah, keep us posted for sure. That's great. That's awesome. Jimmy, we are at the top of the hour. Are you still here?
I am here. David, you raised your hand again, or is it still up from before?
Oh, sorry, Dave. Go ahead. Go. Whoop. Try again.
I would, yeah, there you go. I would just say be willing to make mistakes. I have a video. You guys could go watch. It's a high production thing for a listing, but I wore the cowboy hat backwards, and I started getting comments about it. I'm in Texas, so I wore the cowboy hat backwards, and I was like, man, the first couple of weeks I was getting comments about it. I was like, damn, this is depressing, crazy, because I couldn't tell which side was the front of this hat because I got it from the seller. But now I have it in my drip campaign saying, don't watch this video, make fun of me because I wore the cowboy hat backwards. And I think it's it's in my probate drip too. So I get more people clicking on that link just because I said that. So just live and learn and live on your mistakes. That's what I'd say.
Great.
Great. Oh, I was thinking that whenever you talking about the website, the only purpose, and you kill me for now, but only purpose of having a website is get these people using it.
That's great.
If you're going to have a website, make sure that people are using it. So you're going to develop plans and actions and letters and direct people to using that website. If they're not using the website, Google's not going to, they're not going to treat it as an authority for your local market for probate. So here I'm working on a plan right now. You can see, there you go. It's just a scratchy paper for my action plan, but it itemizes everything that I want people to do on my website after they get a letter from me, a voicemail, a text message, everything. So if you're going to be one of those 3 that tests out the website, make sure that you have a plan for someone to use the link and use the website, not just to find you on the internet, because it's going to take it's going to take 3 to 4 years for someone organically to find you if you don't have blogs and articles and videos attached to that website. So if you're sending letters through being a subscriber or making phone calls, make sure you direct them to using the website before they call you back.
Absolutely. Good advice. And we also, as part of this, that, there's another aspect of this that you may or may not be aware of, is that we've started the social motivator side of this. So we're doing a goodly amount of that for them, doing, weekly postings and putting things up online. And it's all designed to do exactly what you said, which is drive that traffic back to the site. If you're not driving it there, it's not going to come. In the beginning, you're getting zero organic traffic. I don't care who you are, what you're doing. You're not going to get organic traffic. It takes a while to build that, and you'll never get there if you don't have action going on. So in essence, you're going to pretty much be buying or driving the traffic initially, but we're trying to give you the right landing spot to get it done, and a great place to refer people to start using your site. The ability to search IDX, great place for them to go say, well, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house in this zip code range and all that sort of stuff. And that's what you're looking for. You want to be that resource. A lot of times the local MLS resources are challenging to use, and we're trying to make that simple.
And it's
about it. And David, if you want to talk a little bit about that, I'd love to, have a chat with you, pick your brain a little bit as well, and talk about what we're doing and, spend some time there. That'd be great.
I've been working on mine for about 4 years now, and I'm finally getting traction from it. But you'll see if you look me up on the internet, I have over 100 landing pages, over 87 blogs about executor tips, but they all go back to, it's a future planning process. I want people to organically find me, but I also want people in my letters, if they search my name, they find all this stuff too. So I'm getting that traffic that I'm not even getting a hold of. My largest assignment came from a lady that was 4 years in the process of probate, and she looked me up because just came up as the #1 agent for that area.
Awesome.
So the website's worth it. Just invest in it.
I will
treat it. It's a long-term thing, though.
I'll definitely reach out to you the next few days, and we'll chat a little bit. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I do my standard close, just a quick observation, a common theme that I saw in this call. We started out talking about getting more deals, and the whole call was deal related. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but one thing that I have said so many times that distinguishes very successful people is the 180-degree theory. Do something different. Do the opposite or something different from what everybody else is doing. And listen to what we talked about on the call today. Even Ken mentioning probate, thanks to us, it's gotten a lot more popular, but it's still not something your average agent does. The mobile homes, it's something that your average agent turns their nose up on. How many agents are doing what David is doing with his, with all of his multiple websites? Roger mentioned trusts and guardianships. So that's just a really common theme of successful people. Take the road less traveled. There's a lot less competition. So I think it's a great call, and I love it when they come together and we have common themes like this. So something,
guys, if you want to do something where YouTube will take it down if we do it on YouTube, but if you want to do a private thing that's not going to be published, I will take you through everything that I've been building, so that anybody that signs up for y'all's website can make it a successful journey. But it's not going to get you a result in 4 months. So plan on paying for something for 3 years and building out. You want to post 1 article a week. Once you get in that habit of doing 1 article a week, you're going to get 2. Same with videos. You're going to post 1 video a week on that topic that you post. And really, it's a redirect. It's a video of 30 seconds. Hey, I got this blog here. I want you to check it out. All the tips of probate. That's all you have to say on the video. You could be the ugliest person in the world. You could be the ugliest person in the world. But if you go watch the role play call 35 from you guys, you got to have a plan. And people don't care if you're not attractive. They're still going to call you because you have a plan on probate.
Good point, Bob.
Awesome.
True words were never spoken.
Yeah.
Call, everybody. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I want to thank you for staying to the end. It was a long call today. I want to challenge you, as I always do, You might have trouble just finding one, but take one awesome idea that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Great call, everybody. Thanks for being here. Talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.